Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
My guest today on Spiritual Awakening Radio is Matthew Sun, and we're going to talk about detoxing as well as going vegan. Welcome to Spiritual Awakening Radio.
Hi, thanks for having me, James. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Now, you're originally from Australia, right?
Yes, I was born in Australia and I lived there until I was in my early 20s. And then I sort of jetted off around the world for a while, and I've settled in Europe now.
Well, thanks for joining us today. And you are a vegan. How long have you been a vegan?
I've been a vegan for around 8 years, and a vegetarian for 12 years. But I didn't eat a lot. I didn't eat a lot of cheese and milk when I was a vegetarian, just occasionally, but I didn't eat any cheese and milk for 8 years, so I'm strictly vegan that whole time.
Yep, I think vegetarianism and veganism are sort of merging. I think a lot of people these days who are vegetarian really are vegan, and I think the future of the definition of the word vegetarian will be vegan, because in order to be a true vegetarian, you really have to be vegan. If you read up about what happens to the dairy cows, how they end up at the same slaughterhouse. And so dairy is death as well as meat is death.
Yeah, there's been a lot of information about that even on Facebook lately, a lot of pictures and stuff, and it's actually quite surprising that, I mean, I guess it's just the industry, it's just so profit-driven, they'll just do anything just to get as much milk as cheap as possible, and if there's a being alive that's in the way, and they'll just kill it and sell it for dog meat or whatever. I mean, it's terrible, and it's sad actually, because maybe milk is okay even if it comes from the animal and it gives it willingly, and you love the animal and it gives it, it leads a good life, but it's just not like that. I mean, right. It's not even really possible to get that kind of milk.
Yep.
But, I mean, actually, in the Singing Gospel of Peace, which I've got some quotes I could read later.
That would be great.
Jesus actually says that it's okay to drink milk in there, but that was in those days.
That's old school, yes.
That's old school, yeah. These days it's different. It's not vegan at all. It's not loving at all. So we just have to cancel it.
The whole original lacto-vegetarian diet was based on the premise of the old approach in India and Asia, where the cow was a family pet, and of course factory farming is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, there's just no love there, and I mean, it's just terrible. And the worst thing is, I think, that people don't realise, or they maybe hear about it, but they don't really feel what's happening, because it's just wrapped in plastic and it's in the supermarket there. But like they said, I can't remember who said it, some famous person, but they said if slaughterhouses had glass walls, everyone would be vegan.
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney, yeah. So true. Actually, once I went into a old butcher factory because some friends wanted to buy it for some business purpose, and they wanted me to come and check the real estate. And at that time, I was already a vegetarian, and I didn't want to go there. And they sort of pressurized me to go, so I went there. And wow, just even going in there wasn't even any meat in there, but just the feeling and the energy of that place, it was really. I had a headache and I felt nauseous and everything. And the place was clean, hygienically. But, oh, wow, I mean,
A place of death with vibrations of death in the air.
Oh, God. I couldn't imagine what it was like with the animals in there, I mean.
Yeah, I remember visiting a chicken coop once, a long time ago, and, you know, they were all confined to these little tiny cages, and ammonia was overwhelming in the air. The ammonia content was unbearable. And so, you know, that will make you vegan or vegetarian just to go to places like that and see what's really going on there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, well. It's getting there. It's getting there. I heard that the number of vegetarians in the last few years in America has doubled in the last 3 years. Is that right, James?
Yeah, vegans have doubled, and vegetarianism is up, and businesses that serve vegetarian and vegan food options. I mean, it's a very, you know, skyrocketing sort of number. A lot of new products. Vegan cheese is getting more available. Fast food options. And so it's just, you know, if there are more vegans and vegetarians out there, the market will reflect that and start putting more things on the menu.
Ah, it's good to see. Yeah, there's more vegan restaurants popping up all over the place, I noticed. Loving Huts and all the other kinds.
Yep, Loving Huts around the world, vegetarian houses, and it's nice to see that. Nice to have that option so you can actually travel again and have food to eat.
Yeah.
While on the road, you know.
Did you know there's a vegan Loving Hut hotel in Austria on a giant lake?
I knew that they had a fairly decent Loving Hut in Austria because at Facebook I'm always seeing posts from them, and they were the first ones to get on Google Plus with Loving Hut Austria. So I knew they were busy and, you know, doing a lot of things.
Yeah, they've got a hotel. It's a vegan hotel and the vegan restaurant together, and it's on Klopiner Sea, which is the Klopiner Lake in Austria. The place is magnificent. If you ever go to Europe, that's the one place I would say you have to go visit that place. That's just amazing.
Yeah, that's a whole new concept, isn't it? A vegan hotel. Do they do conferences there, workshops, and invite vegan groups in? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, well, that's not their focus, but they have had some, I think, cooking classes there, vegan cooking classes, and some like information days and stuff. But I think it's more just a sort of like a place for you to go, and you know, you can meditate there, or you can just go and enjoy the lake, or just be in the nice atmosphere. It's a very beautiful place, actually.
Right, so it's sort of an ecological, you know, place where people want to go to experience nature, who are from Austria, Germany, you know, Europe, and so, well, that's wonderful. That's so encouraging. A vegan hotel.
Yeah, vegan hotel. I went there a few times now. I really liked it.
Yeah.
You can take your pets there. I took my dog there, and she was very popular.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it must be some confluence of reasons, you know, people, you know, vacationing, you know, in a beautiful area close to nature, in nature, and enough vegans out there in Europe.
Yep, plenty of us.
Wow. Well, that's encouraging. That's great.
Yeah.
So you have a detox product. And, of course, going vegan helps to detox. But I was thinking before this interview, I was thinking earlier that how in the environment there are so many toxins to contend with. Water that's stored in the clear plastic containers. There's a chemical, I forget the name of it, but it leaches into the water. And things in soap and pharmaceuticals. I mean, the whole environment is getting all of these unusual pharmaceuticals and heavy metals and strange compounds, you know, in the environment all around us.
Yes. It's a big problem, actually. It's such a shame that, like, even someone who keeps a pure vegan diet is still bombarded with all of this stuff. But, I mean, not to talk about people who eat a sort of the average Western diet composed of, you know, meat and fried stuff and salt and dairy products and all that kind of stuff, and chicken, and that's just a whole other level, because, well, the problem is that those things are very acid forming in the body, and they the body has to actually protect itself from those things because they're not supposed to be eaten, and they rot in the body and they damage the delicate mucosal lining of the bowel, and the colon and the body actually secretes mucus to protect itself. And then what happens if you're eating meat every day, or eating these things every day, or say even drinking coffee? Actually, coffee is extremely acid forming, unfortunately.
Right.
This mucus, it keeps coming out and out and out every day, and in the process it's draining the body of electrolytes or minerals, and then the mucus actually becomes dry and it actually lines the inside of the colon, and there's a name for it. They call it mucoid plaque. A doctor named Richard Anderson called it that. But then what happens, even after a person goes vegan, even if he's a raw vegan, that stuff, that rubbery stuff, still stays in the body, and it breeds parasites, and it breeds bacteria and fungus and candida and all kinds of stuff. So there is ways to get it out though, and it really does come out because you can actually see it. If you search Google for mucoid plaque, you'll see some quite interesting photos.
That's the hard sell approach. Yeah, that would be kind of shocking, I would imagine.
Yeah, I've seen it personally so many times.
Oh my!
Don't Google it while you're eating your breakfast, or
and don't Google tapeworms either. Yeah, yeah, kind of the same thing, only a bigger parasite.
Yeah.
Wow.
It comes out, and after it comes out, though, you really feel from 1 minute to the next, you feel different. Like you feel lighter and you feel a lot more energy and stuff. And actually, different parts of the colon that were blocked with this stuff is usually related to some kind of a health problem that you have. So there's many reports of people where they shift a part of mucoid out of their colon, and then the pain in the shoulder they had for 5 years disappears, or this kind of thing.
Right, and there's a lot of cancers. More and more, you hear about bacteria or viral, a viral foundation for cancers that used to be, right, and other conditions too, like ulcers. Ulcers used to be thought of as this genetic thing that some people get, and it's all a mystery as to why. But then, they found that bacteria can be the cause of ulcers, and now with cancers as well, there can be a virus or bacteria or nasty organism responsible for some of those.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's just so much about the body and health that we don't know, or that we're just finding out. And I mean, there's one thing that's kind of like a fundamental truth to it all, which is that a pure plant-based diet is what's meant for our body. I mean, there's just oodles of research about the shape of our teeth and the length of our digestive tract relative to our bodies and all this kind of stuff, which proves that we're supposed to be plant eaters. I mean, we're just not supposed to eat meat. It just rots by the time it's 1/3 of the way through the colon, and it's just oozing with bacteria and toxins into the body. Yeah, and you do that day in, day out, and
yeah, and
I don't know how people last, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tribute to the human body that people can smoke for 80 years and eat meat, and some people live for a while. It's amazing, really.
Yeah. Actually, my father-in-law just had a stroke, actually. He's thankfully recovering very well, but he was smoking and drinking quite heavily for most of his life. We used to be amazed that he's still walking around, because, I mean, the body was amazing to withstand it for that long. But now the doctor said, okay, you have to stop drinking and smoking. And he stopped to his testament. But, and he looks a lot better, I tell you. He's got colour in his face, and his face was very pale before. And his brain's it's learning the things from the other part of the brain that it couldn't learn. So, yeah, we're happy about that. But it's a shame that the doctors aren't telling people or pushing these things a little earlier. I mean, why do we wait to tell people to stop eating meat after they have a heart attack? Or why do we tell people to stop smoking after they have a stroke? I mean, the doctors should be talking to people early on and looking at their diets and saying, well, you know, this is going to lead to this. We know that when you get older, this problem is going to happen. And they do know. They know. I mean, in Australia, the doctors recommend pregnant women don't eat fish. And the reason is because the mercury content of the fish is too high and it can cause birth defects.
Right.
But that leads me to wonder, is mercury good for normal people that aren't pregnant? You know what I mean?
It's probably not a trace mineral we want in our body.
No.
It's not a vitamin or a mineral or anything we need.
No, it's terrible. It's probably causing a lot of the asthma cases in Australia, possibly, you know, could be linked to mercury. But anyway, it's a whole other topic.
Yeah, and the plant-based diet, plants have so many medicinal properties, like is it curcumin, the stuff in turmeric and curry that is supposed to be so wonderful, and every every plant-based substance that we would normally eat, you know, herbs, spices, you know, acai berries, blueberries, goji berries, grapes. Yeah. I mean, all of these things have antioxidants and wonderful substances that, you know, affect positively the body in this way and that way and in some other way. You know, nature knows best.
Yeah, it's our medicine for sure. I mean, you walk out and look at your garden and you see those things you call weeds. I mean, they're not actually weeds, they're medicine. Very powerful medicine, some of them, especially the dandelion and stuff like that. I mean, you look on Google about dandelion and this isn't witchcraft or this isn't hoo-ha. I mean, it's proven, it's known. I mean, even in Germany, they prescribe a lot of herbs, actually, the doctors, for different situations, and they know very well that this is what they do and this is how they help. I mean, they even intravenously give people echinacea there in Germany from the doctor. You know what I mean?
That would take some getting used to here, because everything here is corporate pharmaceutical oligarchy, really.
Yeah, well, they kind of have that here too, but it's the pharmaceuticals have embraced the herbs.
Wow.
So, yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad. It makes it hard for the little guy, but yeah, it's good in a way. I mean, because, you know, they're at least acknowledging it and, you know, help healing people naturally, which is a good thing. It just makes it expensive, but
yeah, I've even heard that green tea has antiviral properties. You know, just something fairly basic like green tea.
Yeah, I know. I read a study, actually, it was in PubMed, that green tea is as antiviral and as effective as Tamiflu against the bird flu virus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there was something I read once, being a news junkie, about strep throat and green tea. And, yeah, there's just, it's amazing. Yeah, green tea is so healthy in so many ways, you know, all those antioxidants. And apparently it actually, you know, is good for your gums and your teeth and, you know, maybe cavity reduction. It's got some fluoride in there, natural fluoride.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
And it tastes good as well.
Yep, and it's good for you, and it's less caffeine, and
yeah.
Although the way I make it, you could run your car on it, but that's a different story.
Well, if you like that kind of a drink, it's definitely better than coffee. So anyone out there who's a big coffee drinker, I'd say be careful there.
Yeah, it can be
Coffee is a bit underestimated. Yeah, it's pretty damaging to the body. But I mean, you haven't got the karma there that you have with meat and all those kind of things.
That's
it's
true.
Just,
and
there's a difference. There's foods that are unhealthy that are vegan or vegetarian, so no one's really dying, but I mean, no other person is dying, but then you've got the meat-based things where somebody's dying and they're unhealthy as well. So
yeah, the meat karma is so heavy. I mean, they cut down rainforest, they create grazing land, they pollute the water table, they put antibiotics, and then that adversely affects people when they eat the meat. In terms of antibiotics and the fat and the cholesterol. I mean, it's almost like that. Beatles song, John Lennon's song, Instant Karma. There's so many bad things that it starts immediately, practically, if you eat meat.
Matthew Sun is my guest this week on Spiritual Awakening Radio. His website is thebiocleanse.com. We're having a conversation about detoxing and going vegan. My name is James Bean. You're hearing Spiritual Awakening Radio, heard every week at this time. My email address is james@spiritualawakeningradio.com. And visit my website, spiritualawakeningradio.com. From there you'll have access to links to podcasts, to articles, blogs, daily spiritual quotes at various social networking sites, Google+, Facebook, Tumblr, and others. More with my guest today, Matthew Sun, about detoxing and going vegan. You're hearing Spiritual Awakening on HealthyLife.net, Positive Talk Radio. This is an urgent message. Be veg, go green, to save the planet. Dr. James Hansen, NASA's top climatologist, says, one of the most effective ways each one of us can make a major contribution to slowing down global warming, climate change, reducing greenhouse gases, is to stop eating meat. In other words, to become a vegetarian, or better still, vegan. Cultivate a compassionate and harmonious lifestyle. To find out how, please visit SupremeMasterTV.com. That's www.SupremeMasterTV.com. Be veg, go green, to save the planet. The organic vegan way is the answer. It's fresh, nutritious, joyous, unique, delicious, and healthy. Loving Hut Claremont in California is the first organic vegan Loving Hut in the U.S. and first to have Western-style gourmet cuisine. Organic vegan pizzas, burgers, pastas, sandwiches, vegan wines, desserts, along with Chinese, fusion, and gluten-free dishes. It's a showcase that a 100% organic, vegan, plant-based diet is the great new compassionate lifestyle for better health, happier animal life, and a greener earth environment. The location is 175 North Indian Hill Boulevard in Claremont. For directions, menu, and contact info, go to lovinghut.us, then click Claremont. That's lovinghut.us, then click Claremont. Be veg, go green, to save the planet.
Vistaprint. I'm sure you've heard the name. Over 17 million small businesses and consumers have used Vistaprint for printed products, ranging from business cards and brochures to invitations and thank you cards. Why? Because Vistaprint has the lowest price guarantee, and you can design your products with templates or upload your design. And they have free products. 3-day rush service and satisfaction is always guaranteed. Try Vistaprint. Just go to the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and click on the Vistaprint logo.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
This week on Spiritual Awakening Radio, my guest is Matthew Sun, and we're talking about detoxing and going vegan.
The meat, when you eat it, it has the vibration of fear and death in it, because, I mean, when that animal got killed, every every cell in its body, and was shaking with fear. And that stays in the meat, and when you eat it, then it goes into your body. And actually, the mucoid plaque, this stuff that gets stuck in your body, it's also got resin and residues of meat and stuff in it. And that stays down there, and it keeps vibrating at that frequency, and it keeps affecting you. And I know, because when it comes out, when this stuff comes out of you, instantly you feel different. And a lot of people report that a lot of anxiety they had would disappear, or a lot of negativity would disappear in their mind that they didn't know where it come from, or depression, all kinds of stuff. It's very interesting, actually.
So people detox, and that cleanses their body, and, maybe their body is getting a lot more nutrition that couldn't find its way in before. Maybe they're able to absorb nutrients.
Oh, definitely. Well, actually, I have a couple of paragraphs from the Essene Gospel of Peace, which was a sort of an unedited version of Jesus' talkings. And he's talking here about... actually, some people were talking to him, he met, and they asked him why are they sick. And he gives a little speech about that. Should I read it?
Oh, please do.
Okay. So some people asked Jesus, they said, why are we sick? Why has Satan, taken over us? And why are we suffering? And Jesus says, and next afterward was given this commandment, thou shalt not kill, for life is given to all by God, and that which God has given, let not man take away. For I tell you truly, from one mother proceeds all that lives upon the earth. Therefore, he who kills his brother, and from him will the earthly mother turn away, and will pluck from him her quickening breasts. And he will be shunned by her angels, and Satan will have his dwelling in his body. And the flesh of slain beasts in his body will become his own tomb. For I tell you truly, he who kills himself. And whoso eats the flesh of slain beasts eats of the body of death. For in the blood every drop of their blood turns to poison. In his breath their breath to stink. In his flesh their flesh to boils. In his bones their bones to chalk. In his bowels their bowels to decay. In his eyes their eyes to scales. In his ears their ears to waxy issue. And their death will become his death. For only in the service of your heavenly Father are your debts of 7 years forgiven in 7 clays. But Satan forgives you nothing, and you must pay him all, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, life for life, death for death. For the wages of sin is death. Kill not, neither eat the flesh of your innocent prey, lest you become the slaves of Satan. For that is the path of suffering, and it leads unto death. But do the will of God, that his angels may serve you on the way of life. Obey therefore the words of God. Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And for every beast of the earth, and to every fowl in the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is breath of life, I give every green herb for meat. But flesh and the blood which quickens it shall ye not eat. And surely your spurting blood will I require, your blood wherein is your soul. I will require all slain beasts, and the souls of all slain men. And that's it.
Wow, that's amazing. It reminds me of Kabir poetry. That last line, especially about bad things will happen if you eat meat. And
yeah.
Kabir was most aggressive. His most feisty poems were directed against the slaughter of animals and meat consumption.
Yeah, it's it's the root of all religion, really. I mean, that's the basics, is to basically to love one another, and one another doesn't just mean humans. One another means all beings.
Right, and it's that getting back to Eden kind of approach for the mystic, for the spiritual seeker, to get back to Eden. And just in terms of the metaphor of the Hebrew Bible, going back to Eden is vegetarian back in the garden,
Yes. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like reversing history and going back to that pristine, pure spiritual, kind of heavenly ideal of the garden.
Yeah. It's so true. Imagine if you had to. Okay, of course you can imagine picking your own food from your vegetable garden, or your own fruit from your tree. It's easy, but imagine having to kill your own animals, and imagine having to kill enough of them to eat like people do today. I mean, you'd be getting up first thing in the morning and killing something. I mean, it's terrible. People couldn't do it. People wouldn't do it if they had to do it themselves.
There'd be more and more. There'd be instantly the vegetarian population would shoot way up. People aren't willing anymore to do that. So we're less violent than we used to be, because, of course, if you go back a couple hundred years, that's exactly what people used to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good, is it? And if you look at the average life expectancy of a human 200 years ago, it's around 45, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how it got so low. It was very low for a while.
Yeah. Actually, but today it's much better. I saw most countries in the world, the average life expectancy is up around at least 75, and I think the lowest ones, maybe Libya or somewhere, where it's like 55, which is still higher than the average was a couple of hundred years ago, which is good in a way, but of course it's still not good in Libya. But considering that's the worst corner of the earth in that regard, it shows the progress.
And some scientists believe we can do even better. And, in fact, their numbers are kind of similar to those Essene numbers. The Essenes, some of them live to be well over 100. And scientists think that as well, with reducing calories and having a healthy diet and doing all the right things, that it's possible to live well over 100 years old.
More with Matthew Sun after these messages here on HealthyLife.net. Eco-Vegan believes a healthy you begins with a wholesome diet. Eco-Vegan provides consumers with delicious, nutritious, cruelty-free, affordable, and natural vegan foods to promote a compassionate and sustainable lifestyle. The time has finally come for quality vegan food for the 21st century. Eco-Vegan's Blissful Bits, Spicy Bits, Oriental's Joy, Ocean's Delight, and Zen Patty's the best vegan veggie burger yet. Juicy, energizing, and rich with a complete protein. Eco-Vegan ships to your front door. Order online from ecovegan.com. At checkout in the How Did You Hear About Us section, select healthylife.net for an additional free product. Offer good through April 30th. Go to ecovegan.com, ecovegan.com. That's ecovegan.com. Be good to the planet and please your palate at the same time. Peace begins on your plate. If you want to please your palate while still promoting love and harmony with the planet, look for the opening of a Loving Hut restaurant near you. Loving Hut is a new chain of animal-free gourmet restaurants around the world. Loving Hut provides a practical starting point for those wishing to make the noble transition to a plant-based diet. Currently the fastest-growing vegan fast food chain in the world, Loving Hut opened its first branch in Milpitas, California in July of 2008. To learn more, go to www.lovinghut.us. Once again, the address is www.lovinghut.us. Loving Hut in Brea is the first vegan restaurant in the food court of Brea Mall in Southern California and has just won Best Chinese Restaurant Award in the U.S. Loving Hut in Brea offers Chinese buffet style, plus American cuisine, also ethnic fusions. Go to the website lovinghut.us, then click Brea. That's lovinghut.us, then click Brea. Fresh, nutritious, joyous, be veg, go green to save the planet.
When you need a positive point of view, turn to healthylife.net, your 24/7 radio network for a better future.
Matthew Sun is my guest this week on Spiritual Awakening Radio. The theme of today's program is Detox and Go Vegan.
There's actually I saw there was a show on Supreme Master Television about a village in China where they've got the most centaurians in the world, and they were interviewing them, and they were all vegans, actually. And the interesting thing was they asked them what they eat, and for most of their lives, most of them just ate wild vegetables, and hemp seeds was one of the things they liked, hemp seed soup.
Wow.
And they just mostly just ate roots they could find wild. And recently the USDA also came out with a study saying that wild foods, wild crafted, had 10 to 20 times more nutrients in them than even standard organic food.
Right.
Which was quite interesting.
Yeah, if you pluck something right from the root immediately and eat it soon, it's a whole different... I discovered that once. I went to this organic farm and I bought some broccoli and brought it home. And it was like a whole different vegetable than these rubbery things trucked in from 3,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Like a whole different... It tasted good.
It was grown in a greenhouse under plastic. It hasn't even had soil in its roots.
Yeah, it was like a whole different vegetable, and you practically could see its aura glowing. I mean, it was still alive, you know?
Wow. Yeah. Fresh food, it's great.
Yeah, and the hemp seeds that you mentioned, the omega-3s, hemp seeds and chia seeds are both considered superfoods, and they're both very high in those omega-3 oils, so that really makes sense.
Yeah, there's some people that ask the vegetarians where they're going to get their protein or their amino acids from, but I read recently that the hemp seed actually has the perfect amino acid profile for the human. It has more than all 8 essential amino acids and plenty of them. And yeah, I mean, it's like same with the oils that you were saying.
Yep.
I read that it has the perfect balance of omegas as well.
Yeah, most people are deficient in omega-3s, and so, yeah, it's very important to get the omega-3s, and it's brain food, too. It actually is good. If you're taking your final exams, it's good to have a lot of omega-3 in your diet. Of course, it's good to have it all the time, but it's good for the brain. It's good for memory and thought, and I'm sure many other things, too.
Get into the hemp seed, eh?
Yeah, and chia seeds, which I actually bought not too long ago. Chia seeds are kind of similar in many ways, considered a superfood, and have a lot of the omega-3s and a great protein source.
Ah, cool. Yeah, actually in the Essene Gospel of Peace, Jesus was talking about food in the first book. And just sort of after that last piece I talked about, and he told them not to cook their food. He said that it kills the food and they should eat it raw. Right. And he even gave them instructions on how to make raw bread.
Right. And I know a company that sells that bread to this day. You know, based on that Essene recipe.
The Essene recipe, yeah.
It's really good too.
Yeah, I saw 2 different kinds of ones. Like there's one they make like a loaf out of it.
Right.
And then there's another kind where they make like little crisps, like thin wafers, which is kind of crunchy. And the way he describes to do it in the Essene Gospel of Peace, actually, he says I'll read this a bit. He says, he says, you sprout your grains, and then he says, then crush your grain and make thin wafers, as your forefathers did when they departed out of Egypt, the house of bondage, and put them back again beneath the sun from its appearing, and when it rises to the highest in the heavens, turn them over on the other side, that they be embraced there also by the angel of sunshine, and leave them there until the sun sets. And then he says, for the angels of water, of air, and of sunshine fed and ripened the wheat in the field, and they likewise must also prepare your bread. So that's what they used to eat like.
Wow, staple food item.
Raw sprouted wheat Crispies.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I had some once. My friend made some, and they were quite tasty. Actually, they were quite delicious. He put a few spices in there as well.
Yeah, very high in iron content and protein and fiber and all those good things.
Yeah, but these are the kind of foods that doesn't damage the body and cause this kind of a mucus reaction, actually, because it's perfect. It's raw and it's got enzymes in it, and it's just not damaging at all. And he kind of highlights that. He's even speaking out against normal bread. I mean, he was quite strict, actually, Jesus, with his disciples and what they eat. If anyone reads that Seeing Gospel of Peace, it's very intriguing. Like he says here, it is the fire which blazes outside your body, which is hotter than your blood. With that fire of death, you cook your foods in your homes and in your fields. I tell you truly, it is the same fire which destroys your foods and your bodies. And he says it ravages your thoughts, ravages your spirits. And it's actually it's interesting too, because although bread's not that bad, cooked bread really, compared to what everybody's eating today, it does also cause a mucus reaction in the body, bread. Like if you ate too much bread every day, you'd need to get that stuff out of there somehow as well.
Wow. And
yeah.
And just a note on the side, I believe that Edmund Bordeaux Zeke, the translator of the Essene Gospel series, I think he might have been an initiate of Sawan Singh. I think that's possible.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's my old pet theory. I've got to investigate it, but he knew about Sawan Singh. And there's a quote from Kabir in one of his books, because I've got all of those Biogenic Society books, and there's a quote of Kabir in there, so I think he knew.
Edmund Bordeaux Zeke of the Essene Gospel of Peace was friends with initiates of Inner Light and Sound Meditation. Essene Gospel of Peace, Volume 4, contains references to Divine Light and Sound. Books contain also some quotes from Kabir, so I think he knew about this particular spiritual practice from India. More with my guest Matthew Sun on detoxing and going vegan on this week's edition of Spiritual Awakening Radio. The organic vegan way is the answer. It's fresh, nutritious, joyous, unique, delicious, and healthy. Loving Hut Claremont in California is the first organic vegan loving hut in the U.S. and first to have Western-style gourmet cuisine. Organic vegan pizzas, burgers, pastas, sandwiches, vegan wines, desserts, along with Chinese, fusion, and gluten-free dishes. It's a showcase that a 100% organic vegan plant-based diet is the great new compassionate lifestyle for better health, happier animal life, and a greener earth environment. The location is 175 North Indian Hill Boulevard in Claremont. For directions, menu, and contact info, go to lovinghut.us, then click Claremont. That's lovinghut.us, then click Claremont. Be veg, go green, to save the planet.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
Loving Hut is the fastest growing chain of animal-free gourmet vegan restaurants all over the world. Loving Hut provides a practical starting point for those wishing to make the noble transition to a healthy, sustainable, planet-friendly, plant-based diet. All mouth-watering items on the menu are 100% vegan. In the Atlanta area, visit Loving Hut at 6385 Spalding Drive, Norcross, Georgia. To see what's on the menu, get driving directions, or other information, go to lovinghut.us/Georgia. lovinghut.us/Georgia. And at Facebook, the address is facebook.com/LovingHutGA. That's facebook.com/LovingHutGA.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back to Spiritual Awakening Radio on HealthyLife.net. My guest today is Matthew Sun.
Now, the detox, the BioCleanse kit, what's in there? What do people take that helps to kind of make up for lost time to cleanse their systems?
Yeah, well, it contains 3 products and also a book to read and to learn about the whole system. But basically, there's like a herbal capsule formula which contains herbs and plants which have been used for thousands of years and are well known to cleanse the body, the colon, the liver, the organs, the blood. And what happens though when you take these herbs, they're very strong actually. Like, I mean, a couple of capsules will be enough to make most people's bodies start eliminating quite well. But it's not like a strong, uncomfortable, got to run to the bathroom kind of thing. It's like a natural kind of, elimination, which usually happens the next day. But once you start taking these herbs, it shifts the body into a state of elimination and cleansing. And now that taking those herbs just alone, it can create sort of what we call cleansing reactions, where the toxins come out, and they end up in the bowels, because that's where everything goes that the body wants to get rid of. But then they don't usually come out quick enough, so they get reabsorbed, and then they go back into the blood, and they kind of go round and round and round in the system. And this is why sometimes if someone hasn't done cleansing or fasting before and they try to do like a juice fast or even a water fast, they usually have a lot of difficulty with it, because they'll start to get headaches, they'll feel sick, they'll be excruciatingly hungry, and they usually don't last on it. So that's leads us to the second formula in there, which is it's a fibre formula that's also comprised of a large amount of a special kind of clay. Now, this clay is ridiculously absorbent, and it actually, I've got some notes here about it. Let me go down. It actually takes on a negative electrical charge when it's hydrated, and it attracts and absorbs the toxins, because, interestingly enough, the toxins in the body have a positive charge, and they bind to each other and it absorbs them, and it stops them re-entering the body. So you take this powder with apple juice or water, and you shake it up, and you drink it, and it's a little bit thick, and then it goes into the body, and while you're doing the cleansing, you're taking well, depending on what program you choose, there's two options. But if you do the stronger program, you take 5 shakes a day. And this stuff is always in your system, and it's always soaking up whatever toxins come out. So you don't have this system happening where the toxins come to your bowel and then get reabsorbed again into your bloodstream and go round and round and round. So they go into your bowel, they get soaked up by the clay. And the clay also has the good effect of helping to pull the mucoid plaque off the walls of the bowel, which also gets loosened by the herbs because they have the effect of kind of breaking the mucus down a little bit, like it softens it. And yeah, I mean and what people do is there's a special program, but they basically work their way into the cleanse, and then if they want to do the strong version of it, they go for a minimum of 5 days with no food. They just take juices, and they can take green superfoods, and also take 5 shakes a day. And most people, if they tried to do this without the herbs or the clay, especially without the clay, they wouldn't last 2 days, because hundreds of people now I have feedback from that have done it, and some of them were even overweight, heavy meat eaters, even drinking alcohol. They can do it, and they can even go 5 days without feeling too much of a problem. They might feel a little bit hungry, but you've got to imagine if somebody stops eating for 5 days, they're usually going to really suffer a lot. They wouldn't actually last, but they don't even get hungry a lot of the time. One gentleman recently, he was 65, I think. He was a bit nervous about doing it, and I said, well, my mum did it, and she's about your age, and so give it a go. It should be okay. So he went the whole hog, and he did the full program, the full strong, fasting for 5 days. And he said he was fine, and he lost 10 pounds on the cleanse because he was overweight. And he said now since he's finished, his whole diet is completely changed because he realizes he can feel what food is good and what's not. And he's got a taste now for kale, he told me. Before he couldn't stand kale. He just couldn't eat it, and now he eats it and he likes it. And I mean, eating it is one thing, but actually liking the taste of it means that he's achieved something. He's become healthier, and he's lost another 2 pounds in the few weeks after the cleanse as well. So he's lost 12 pounds since I spoke to him last. And yeah, no problem. My mum did it. She's done it 4 times now, I think, 4 or 5 times. Actually, my mum is an interesting story. She used to have high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and the doctor wanted to put her on, medicine for the rest of her life. And she said, "No, give me a couple of months. I want to try something." And she went vegan after that time. Vegan or vegetarian, I can't remember. But she pretty much cut out all the meat, all the chicken, all the fish, everything. Maybe she had a little bit of cheese still, I'm not sure. But she went back to the doctor 2 months later, and her blood pressure and her cholesterol was down to normal. The doctor couldn't believe it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that about switching to vegan, that it lowers their blood pressure, and of course, it's true that some foods actually have low blood pressure lowering effects, and they typically are the fruits and vegetables, once again.
Yeah.
In raw form.
Yeah, definitely.
And the BioCleanse Detox Kit, people can read about that at your website, detox.net.au. Is that the best one?
Actually, the product website for the BioCleanse is thebiocleanse.com.
Thebiocleanse.com.
Yeah. Actually, we posted the whole instruction manual on there, so people can read it and see what it's all about there.
Matthew Sun has been my guest on this week's Spiritual Awakening Radio. Once again, his website is thebiocleanse.com. Save the planet and
please your taste buds at the same time with Vegetarian House. You can't find a wider array of delicious international cuisine at an affordable price than the Vegetarian House restaurant in San Jose, California. Its wide array of organic vegan food even includes raw dishes, egg-free desserts, and non-alcoholic cocktails. As more and more people around the world adopt a plant-based diet, Vegetarian House shows how compassionate food choices can be a delicious way to promote peace and a sustainable planet. For more information, go to www.vegetarianhouse.us. Once again, the web address is www.vegetarianhouse.us. Be good to the planet and please your palate at the same time. Peace begins on your plate. If you want to please your palate while still promoting love and harmony with the planet, look for the opening of a Loving Hut restaurant near you. Loving Hut is a new chain of animal-free gourmet restaurants around the world. Loving Hut provides a practical starting point for those wishing to make the noble transition to a plant-based diet. Currently the fastest-growing vegan fast food chain in the world, Loving Hut opened its first branch in Milpitas, California in July of 2008. To learn more, go to www.lovinghut.us. Once again, the address is www.lovinghut.us.
When you need a positive point of view, turn to HealthyLife.net, your 24/7 radio network for a better future.
Spiritual Awakening Radio is heard every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is noon Pacific Time. Also on Sundays at noon Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific Time. At HealthyLife.net, click on the Archive tab, scroll down, and you'll discover that there are many editions of Spiritual Awakening Radio there that you can click on and listen to anytime on demand. There are also podcasts of the program available through HealthyLife.net. Visit my website, spiritualawakeningradio.com. From there you can send me an email if you like. And at Facebook, the address is facebook.com/Spiritual Awakening Radio, where you'll find links to recently archived programs, spiritual quotes, and news about upcoming shows. For Spiritual Awakening, I'm James Bean.